Fidel Castro's death may change a bit in the life of the Cubans, but his death was, in fact, it was like a fact in 2006 when he retired. He had no... Raúl Castro took over power already in 2006, but formally in 2008. Fidel remained in the back scene always and received some official visitors at times, but it was symbolic. But his younger brother Raúl always admired his big brother, and he tried to care for his image and his place in the background, and he allowed him to, to make his regular reflections, some written notes, and they became more and more crazy with time. And for the young generation of Cubans, he was an old man walking around in an Adidas dress, a bearded, really old man, nearly senile and a bit crazy, everyone thought. But still the propaganda was always there in the school books, and his portrait all over, in all working places and everywhere. And when he died, what was expected was, of course, very big international coverage of the funeral and the reactions, etc. And Raúl Castro tried to do his best to make this as big as possible, but very few international leaders came to his funeral. Only some dictators like Mugabe and the close friends from Venezuela, Bolivia and Nicaragua. But from the rest of the world there was no representation. And thanks God, because Fidel Castro was the Hitler of the Caribbean Hitler, really. He was a very bad dictator. He never cared for his people. The only thing he cared for was to use his people for his own means, and they were his mega projects in the world, and to use them as cannon feed in Africa, and he even threw them into the sea when they protested and wanted to flee the country. He said, "Okay, go," and they became food for sharks, many of them. And not to talk about all the sins of Fidel Castro, because they are very well known. All the executions he made in the beginning of the revolution. There were thousands of them executed without any trial. And there were times when there were like 30,000 political prisoners, and he was very harsh and very capricious in his way of reigning. And at his side, Raúl Castro was always there, and Raúl was well known to be a hard man, and he stood for many of the hardline things and the executions, etc. And the Castro line has remained all this time, and no big change was expected after the death of Fidel Castro. Raúl, for sure, will continue. I don't think he will change much. What has happened during the period of the funeral, he forced upon the Cuban people a 9-day long sorrow period, mourning period, which was terrible. No music was allowed, not even in the homes. They were not allowed to see amusement TV programs or anything. The political police or the police entered the homes and arrested people for behaving disrespectful. Will not change a lot, and in the last assembly meeting he was very pessimistic about the future as well, and he said the economy is very bad and we have to squeeze quite a lot, and with the change of government in the United States with Trump, we don't know yet what will happen, but Trump has said that he will reverse the steps that Obama has taken of approach, and he has promised to be hard on the communist regime in Cuba. We'll see what that will mean, if he does that or not. But anyway, he will not go ahead in the way that Obama did without any response from the Cuban regime, or opening up, or smoothing the regime. But for the opposition, hard times are expected, and the last months have been terrible, really terrible, and it's getting worse every day. And I think that if this continues like this, we will have no opposition any longer in Cuba. They will all be in prison. And then you ask about why Cubans are fleeing. That you may understand. With a regime like this, there is no space, no room for any liberties, any you can't make your life decent in a country like this. This is not a dictatorship of a normal military dictatorship like in Chile or wherever, where you at least can live from your work. But in Cuba it's not possible. It's not allowed. You are not allowed to open your own business. And if you are in opposition, you are not allowed anything. You are not allowed to work. You are not allowed to go to the university. You are not allowed to... you have to live of air. So the opposition is very much dependent on support from outside, because they can't live without support from the outside. And of course, illegal activities which everyone is always involved in. Every Cuban is involved in the black market, because it's the only way to survive. And the regime has not managed to stop the black market, because they have themselves proper interests in this sector. They earn a lot from the black market. So the free market system is the black market, which is illegal, and so anyone everywhere in Cuba can be imprisoned from one day to another, just for buying in the black market, or for selling in the black market, or involving in something. So and everybody, the black market is based on what they can steal from the state sector. So the state sector feeds the black market, and the black market lives from the state. And it's how it is. I think that the Cubans will continue to flee, and the last 2 years there has not been a big migration wave like these two last years in 20 years.